Hello and welcome back to the End of the Fourth Football Podcast. It is me, your host, B-Hizzy. That's Brendan Hurst. And as always, I am joined by the fantastic, the one and only, the real Prez, the Prez, Chris Mullaney. How are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right.
Well, we are here again for week 13. This is the week 13 preview. It's our first preview show since I went to America, before I went to America. So
Took you all that time to get back through customs, did it?
Aye. We've it's been too long. I really do like, and I enjoy doing the preview shows. They're my bread and butter. I think these are my favorite shows to do. So that's not to say the review shows aren't fun, but it's just fun bantering back and forth with the going on the pick'ems and stuff like that, and then all that jazz.
Yeah.
So. Well, we'll start then. I did the Thursday night preview with the Bills and the Bills. Pick winning
The Bills and the Bills,
the Bills and the Bills, as in yes. I'm looking at the pick'ems here. That's the Bills one. Bills and the Bills.
Yeah.
Bills Patriots. Yeah, that was a win. That was on Let's Talk Sport. Let's Talk Sport exclusive episode. So, like doing them. Just fun to get a little bit out there. Maybe that's a format we could explore in the future. Do the Thursday night preview as a standalone show and have that on Let's Talk Sport exclusively. So something we can see going forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we do have another something else to talk about, and that's the games this Sunday. We'll start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Atlanta Falcons. This is I don't know. This is too like kind of what we need to see something from these teams.
Yes, I mean, right. I think both teams, the season's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It has. I don't
necessarily think the Falcons are out of it just because of their division.
That's it. I just think though that Pittsburgh. I think in week one, when they beat Cincinnati, and everyone thought, wait a minute here, this team's actually quite okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, TJ Watt got hurt. And I'm not saying it's one man makes a team, but he kind of does.
Mm-hmm.
And, but the Falcons have been a weird side to watch because they found their identity.
Mm-hmm.
Run the ball. They don't have to be flashy with it.
And the Falcons ran the ball pretty well against the Commanders, who have a great run defense. So
I do like the Falcons running game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyler Algier's been brilliant.
Mm-hmm. He is their leading rusher.
Yep. Cordell Patterson, since he's came back, has helped out with the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Drake London is starting to show why he was the first wide out off the board.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a decent defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about this week's all about keeping Mariota upright, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They do that, they'll win. But on the flip side, the Steelers are okay. They have some sort of identity.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny Pickett, I said give the kid a year.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think next season he could be bursting for a playoff spot in that AFC.
Yeah. I think that he is struggling a little bit. He's been okay, but his numbers aren't great. He's 175 for 265, 1,600 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 picks, which isn't great. But I mean, he is a rookie in a less than ideal situation, obviously, with the offensive line being what it is. It's hard to say, really. The spread in this one it's even. There's no favorite from the bookies here. So I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think the Falcons' key is if they can keep Mariota upright to make the 13, 14 throws that he needs to make, the Falcons can win this one. But I don't know if they'll be able to, just with the fact that TJ Watt should play in this one. I'm sure he's questionable. Yeah. But I think he's gonna be fighting to play. And it's really hard to say, isn't it? Both teams are pretty even. The Steelers 332 yards a game, Falcons 331. So there's really not that much in it. Both teams are allowing The Steelers are allowing 380 yards, Falcons 393.3 per game. And there's, no real discrepancy between passing yards that they're allowing either. It's just the Falcons' run defense is not great compared to the Steelers. And that's kind of it's kind of their identity, like we were talking about, is the Falcons run the ball and Mariota makes, a couple throws here and there and gets them over the line. So I am going to take the Steelers on this one. I think that they're going to build off the momentum they got with the win against the Colts, which I think they needed. I think a lot of people doubted them as well. And I think that was a really really needed win for them. And I think that they've got the momentum heading into this one. Obviously, the Falcons, been only won one of their last four. So yeah, no, I think the Steelers win this one.
I'm taking the Falcons.
Okay, interesting.
I think with the Monday night game being Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Tom Brady's not exactly got the best record against New Orleans.
Yes,
when to put the pressure on him,
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting for sure. I mean, they're 5-6 now, so yeah, if the Falcons can move into first place with a win here.
Exactly.
All right then. Very interesting. We will move on to the Packers at the Bears. Now, it's trending Aaron Rodgers is going to play in this one. Obviously, he has the thumb injury that we know about. He also left the game on Sunday night last week with the oblique injury, but he says he's going to play. There is no David Bakhtiari in this game. He had an emergency appendectomy on Friday, and he will miss this game. That is what it is. Obviously it's gone well, the surgery, but that's the important thing, really.
I would not play Rodgers.
Yeah, I know. No, I agree. It doesn't make any sense because we look at how decimated the Bears defense is. Just, they've got they traded away Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, and they've lost Eddie Jackson for, is it the year? I'm not sure. Regardless,
I don't think Justin Fields is playing.
Yeah, Justin Fields is playing, who's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. He's been running the ball pretty well.
Then this could cause you problems.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because your defense can't stop a cold.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is the thing, right? Every team has two running backs. The Packers are in a very good position. They have RB1, who's a top 5, and RB2 is at least top 10. So why are you not running the football?
I know, it makes no sense to me. When Aaron Jones, it only has 155 carries this year. Do you know what I mean? He should be at he should have at least 100 more.
Exactly. I mean, every week, I said it to you last Sunday, every team has shown you how to beat Philadelphia. Well, not every team, but
no, the Commanders have.
Washington showed you, in Washington, let's face it, they're not exactly brilliant. Just run the bloody ball.
I know.
And you put your star corner on the other team's star receiver.
Now, it just doesn't seem to be the case that he just seems to refuse to do that. And Joe Barry's sitting scratching his head, talking about how it was possible that they let the Eagles run all over them, and it's like, well, it's clearly the scheme.
I thought that was his job.
Yeah, it is. He should be dealing with that, and it's like, maybe take a look in the mirror, mate. That's all I'm saying.
What is Matt LaFleur's job? What is Matt LaFleur's job?
I have no idea, because he doesn't seem to want to stand up to Aaron Rodgers. It infuriates me. No, I think back to the point about Aaron Rodgers playing in this one. I agree, because you look at the way Jordan Love played in small, fashion last week, and he looked good, and he's had a lot of praise. And you just think the bye week for the Packers next week, set Aaron Rodgers, season's done, regardless of whether you're still mathematically in it or not. Let Jordan Love have a start against this atrocious Bears defense, get his confidence up, give Aaron Rodgers 2 weeks to heal, and then, he maybe feels better about the rib and about the thumb by the time the Rams come to Lambeau in 2 weeks' time. So, I don't know, this it's a head scratch to me. I know he's a competitor and he's going to want to play, and I don't have a problem with that, but I think as a head coach, I think you've got to, I don't see how there's point in time, especially when, Romeo Dobbs could play, he's questionable, against this defense, which shouldn't really trouble, regardless of whether David Bakhtiari plays or not. I don't understand why he can't just stand up. Why can Matt LaFleur not just stand up to Aaron Rodgers and say, no, we're going to sit you down this week and you'll be good to go?
Exactly. That's exactly what I think.
Because the Packers' best chances of winning out are with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, and that's not going to happen now this season. So have him as healthy as he can be, and that is by making him sit 2 weeks and maybe he feels better. We're 4-8 right now. We're 4-8.
4-8. So you've got 5 games potentially, so 5 games left.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Vikings, I'm sure.
Yep, we've got the Bears, the bye week next week, the Rams, the Dolphins on Christmas Day, the Vikings, and then the Lions.
Right. Now when the Vikings come to town, they'll not be caring. They'll have won the division. They'll be in party mode.
Yep.
So that should be a W.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get humiliated week 1. That's not a dig. That's just a fact.
No, I get you.
Surely you should beat the Lions. Surely. Right. So there's 2 wins. The Rams will probably have Bryce Perkins. Mm-hmm. Surely that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only difficult game I see there's the Dolphins. So mathematically, the best you can do is 8 and 9, and in that NFC, that's not even going to tickle the playoffs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It would mean the Commanders need to essentially lose out.
Yeah, I mean there's 2 teams in that playoffs and wild card who are going to be double-digit winners.
Yeah,
and it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, for the sake of the pick'em, we'll go the Packers for me. I think they'll win.
Well, I've really been debating this all week, and I think Justin Fields playing, the Bears aren't going to be scared of this Packers defense, of holding him out. Maybe there won't be so many designed runs for him, and we want to protect him a little bit. But I don't see how the Bears could be scared about this Packers defense, which just looked like they didn't want to tackle against the Eagles last week.
No, I know.
I have the same feeling I had about the London game against the Giants. I thought, I don't know what it is. I just think that the Giants were going to win that one, and I've got the same feeling here. I think the Bears win this. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I just think that, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, or do I hope I'm wrong? I don't know, because if we lose, we get a better draft pick. I don't know.
Anyway.
Never nice winning, losing to the Bears, but it could be a cause at this point.
Maybe Justin Fields can run into the camera and go, "I own you."
Well, it would be his first win over the Packers in 4 starts. So,
right.
All right then. Let's move on to here's a really, really good game. I really like this one quite a lot. If the Packers weren't playing at 6, I'd probably watch this. Jags at Lions.
Right. What do I do here? Because I know exactly what's going to happen. So what's the point?
Yeah.
I know if I say the Lions will win, the Jags will win, and I know that. It's a weird one because the Lions' defense is crap.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence looked elite last week in that final 10 minutes. He looked brilliant. I think the Jags, the worry for me is Travis Etienne's questionable.
He says he'll play. But, I mean, like you always say, you're never going to find a player who says, yeah, I'm not playing this week.
Yeah. I mean, Travis Etienne's questionable. Now, the obviously the backup running back said Jermichael Hasty. Now, the Jags' identity is running it. Lions can't stop a run. Jags' defense is good. And the only real threat I see from Detroit is the running game in St. Brown. That's it.
No, I agree. So, the Lions are allowing 154.6 rushing yards per game. And, that's going to be lethal against a team like, we've got Travis Etienne, even if he's not 100%. The only thing is, on the other side is, despite the Jags only allowing 114.8, there's a big discrepancy there. Jamal Williams is feasting this year. He has 13 touchdowns, which is more this season. He's got more than his first 5 years in his career.
I know that's the thing, but I do think the Jaguars will win this one.
Yeah,
because we'll find out later on why the Jags will win this one.
Okay. You're taking the Jags. I think that you look at this game, you look at the two quarterbacks, and it just seems to be two quarterbacks in a completely different space right now, and kind of had their struggles. But Trevor Lawrence has kind of picked himself up by the scruff of the neck, and he's just feasting right now. He's playing so well, so clean,
Yep.
and we had all these worries about him turning the ball over and everything like that, but he only has 6 picks on the year. And yeah, he did lose a lot of fumbles and all that, but that doesn't matter to me. Right now, he's playing the best. I'm sure this is the best 3-game stretch of his career that he's had. And
I mean,
it's obviously a
Trevor
short
Lawrence,
career.
I think the problem is, or where the lines are going wrong. Jared Goff knows that he will not be a Lion next year.
Mm-hmm.
He knows they're taking a quarterback in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's one of the top two, Bryce
Mm-hmm.
Young, CJ Stroud, whether it's Will Levis. I mean, GM Chris here would take Will Anderson.
Mm.
I mean, him and Aiden Hutchinson. However, the main point of this game is it's a number 1 pick against the number 2 pick.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true, yeah.
And the number 2 pick's not done much for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
we were joking. We were ripping the pee out of you. Let's say, how does that help Trevor Lawrence? And I mean, he kind of hasn't. He's been quiet.
Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence is winning, so I don't care.
Yeah, you go. Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you. I am going to take the Jags in this game, and I'm going to lock them up.
Oh,
the spread is even, so it is in the lock zone.
Okay.
I very much like this game quite a lot. I like the Jags. Their defense has been a little bit disappointing. Playing kind of down a little bit, but I still like the Jags in this game quite a lot.
Okay.
All right then. Here you go. Here's your man. You've got the New York Jets against the Minnesota Vikings. It's 1 o'clock, Kirk.
Oh, it is 1 o'clock, Kirk. And of course, Detroit's just lost to the Jaguars, which means get the champagne corks popped.
Oh, of course, yeah.
NFC North winners.
Although, if the what is it?
And
yeah,
the line is only 3.5.
Yep.
Get those Vikes locked.
Oh, nice. That's a nice lock
3
right
weeks
there.
in a row, I've took them this. It was a toss-up between them and my other man, so I'm taking Kirk because the division's on the line and it's at 1 o'clock.
Yes, they can. Yes, it just says here. I'm just seeing here on my preview. The Vikings can clinch the division with a win versus the Jets and some help. So for sure. It's a tough one. I just wonder what we're going to see from Mike White, because this defense, while it isn't as poor as the Bears defense is, I'm not totally sure it's particularly rigid and strong. They play very soft defense, and the Vikings do. I'm just trying to think. There's not really anybody massive that they're going to be without.
The battle this week's going to be Sauce Gardner against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's a really interesting matchup to me. I really like the sound of that.
I think Kirk Cousins is better than Mike White.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Right, I mean, Kirk Cousins is awesome. You can't deny that. So
needs to win more in prime time for me, but
guys just won a division and he won in prime time. So
what his second division title in what? Has he only been in the league 12 years?
Oh, wait a minute. It was at Washington. My God, you have to give the guys a break.
Well,
God, folk would think you don't like him.
He just always balls out against us. And he actually hasn't even been that great this year. He's just been great in spots. He has 9 interceptions, which is as many as Aaron Rodgers says. Now people are saying Aaron Rodgers is washed.
Aaron Rodgers is, basically a petulant little child. I watched that game, one of the games on prime time. I can't remember if it was Buffalo or the one before that. And Matt LaFleur calls a timeout, and he goes over and gives him it tight.
Yeah.
You've got to respect the coach.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins respects Kevin O'Connell. And although the defense is poor, if the offense can score points, doesn't matter how poor the defense is.
My look at this is the Vikings are going to be without Christian Darrisaw for this game. He's obviously been a huge impact on that left side of that offensive line, protecting Kirk Cousins' blind side. And this is against the defense, which I think is the best in the league. The Jets' defense is the best in the league with their pressure rate, which I think has been down a little bit the past couple of weeks. But I think that, all across the board, they are, top to bottom, the best defense in the league. And it's a show me game. I think this is the kind of team that the Vikings can lose against. I think they're very similar to Dallas, very physical up front on the offensive line and can take advantage of mismatches. And I feel like the Jets can do that here. I am going to take the Vikings, but I'm going to take a close one. We'll give a score for this one. How about that? I'm going to take the Vikings 27-24.
I'm going to take the Vikings 24-10.
24-10. Nice. The Scorching Six is coming later on, of course. So
we put the crown next to that, division winners.
Division. Yeah, sure. Okay. So your lock has to your lock actually has to come through as the Vikings have to win the division as well. So you're kind of banking on two games here.
Yes, well, that's why I know the Lions are going to win because I picked the Jacks.
Yeah. I jest. Right. Let's keep it rolling here. We have the Commanders against the New York Giants.
Oh, look who's just wandered into the room. You go Giants and she ran out the
room. You can abbreviate his name, Daniel Dones.
King Daniel, as I'm now referring to him as. This is a tough one, actually, because I actually think this could really split the NFC East open. We're going to get to it later on because I think there's going to be a loss in that division this week. Well, obviously, one of the Giants are Commanders, but not them. I think the Giants will win it because I think the Giants have been playing very well, running the football. Daniel Jones has been making the right decisions. He's playing for his career right now, and I think for the first time he actually has a coach that's decent. I mean, it's like the last year with Manning when he had Ben McAdoo. I mean, Joe Judge is a special teams coordinator. He's not a coach.
Yeah.
I don't understand these people who have a good year as an offensive coordinator somewhere and all of a sudden they think their head coach is. There's one in Denver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you need to just...
To be fair, Nathaniel Hackett did lead Aaron Rodgers to back-to-back MVPs, so you can maybe let that one slide.
A lot of that's talent, though. But I just think that Daniel Jones is highly coachable. The running game's great. And when Daniel has to make throws, he's been making them. The only, not issue, the only slight problem I have is how good the Commanders' running game has been with Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Company. Terry McLaurin up against the corners for the Giants. Terry McLaurin's been quite quiet the last, not been as explosive. So because of Daniel Jones, I'm going to take the Giants because we're going to go on to it later on.
Okay.
Why I took the Giants.
this is a tough game to pick. We've been saying, I have been in agreement with you for most of the season that Daniel Jones is playing better. Well, I think he is. Just like that's not up for debate. He's playing better, but these numbers concern me a lot here. And I know you can say you can get statistics to look however you want, right? Daniel Jones has 10 touchdown passes this year, right? That's the same as Carson Wentz, who hasn't played since week 6.
And how many rushing touchdowns has Daniel Jones got?
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that. So, that's why I'm not going to give it too much thought, but there is stock in there. We're saying, has he been as effective in the passing game, or has the running game been so good that it's maybe papering up some cracks? Because again, this is another team which is kind of banking on running the ball. They average 138.9 rushing yards per game. Sorry, that's how much they're allowing. It's 151.1 rush yards per game, so it's a little bit better. Is it down to that, perhaps, that run game has been so effective? Saquon Barkley's been so good that is the reason why, maybe Daniel Jones' shortcomings haven't been exposed in the way we've seen them in the past couple of years, because obviously Saquon's been struggling in 2020 and 2021, and maybe that's the deal, because he's made such a comeback and Daniel Jones is figuring things out because of that.
That's possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, to cut a long story short, I'm going to take the Commanders here. I think they're a bit, they're on a bit more of a hot streak. They've won their last 3. The Giants have lost 3 of their last 5. And that's not to say anything. I still think the Giants will be fine. I think they'll pick some games up later on in the season, and they'll still make the playoffs. But just a little bit of a they're not an elite team, I don't think.
Okay, I'll accept your opinion.
Okay, good. It's my opinion,
but okay.
Don't invalidate my opinion. All right, then. We have the Tennessee Titans going to the Philadelphia Eagles here. This is going to be, I'm surprised this isn't maybe in a later window. I think this is probably better than Sunday Night Football, to be quite honest.
This is a Sky game.
Yes, Sky game, yeah. So
other networks are available.
No, there's not. I don't know what you're talking about. NFL Virgin, Game Pass.
There's Virgin and there's Game
with
Pass.
With a VPN. Yeah. I think that the Titans need this game more than the Eagles do to keep track, and the AFC, just the AFC. I think that the Titans obviously didn't expect to come up to be hit with the L against the Bengals, who were obviously down a lot of key players, and it would be big showing from them if they can go into Lincoln Financial Field and beat the Eagles, which for they can do 100%. They're a team that can definitely do that. Ryan Tannehill's kind of playing out of his mind, really. He's been playing really, really well, and I say that despite him only having 10 touchdown passes. I take Daniel Jones credit away for that, so I've got to do it to Ryan Tannehill. And Derrick Henry's been pretty quiet the past couple of weeks, and that's a problem. If they can get him going, they're within a chance, because you can run on the Eagles. They're allowing 120.7 rush yards per game, and the Titans, you can't run on them. They're only 84.5 rush yards allowed per game. So, it's a really good showing from them. Unfortunately, they are allowing a lot more passing yards, 286.5, whereas the Eagles defense is kind of a good balance between both.
I'm going to take the Titans to win.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to say? You know exactly what I'm going to say.
I don't know.
Washington showed you the blueprint.
Yeah.
You run the ball. Then you put your best corner on AJ Brown and you nullify him, and then you stop Jalen Hurts. Because I noticed it against Washington. See, once he couldn't throw to AJ Brown, he didn't have a clue after that.
You know, it's
I don't have a plan B.
We've said it makes you make it sound so easy. Stopping Jalen Hurts is one of the hardest things to do in this league.
Washington did it.
Yeah, well, they have a great defense, and you know, I don't know if the Titans do, because
Arizona did it.
Hmm?
Arizona did it, and nearly came within a whisker. So if teams can do it, why are teams? I thought they all watched film and it was all hunky dory and all that sort of stuff. And in my opinion, if it wasn't for Kevin O'Connell having such a great quarterback and leading him to Coach of the Year, I would certainly think Mike Vrabel is arguably, in my opinion, out with obviously the veterans, he is probably the best coach in the NFL.
I think it's important that, you know, the players, they love him. And you know, when there was a thing last week, I think it was it Derrick Henry had the fumble at the goal line after a big run, but Treylon Burks came in, you know, right after the play, and he dived on the fumble and recovered it for a touchdown. And he went over to Mike Vrabel and said, "Look, I'm sorry, I missed that run blocking assignment. That was my fault." But Mike Vrabel then just turned around and said, "Well, what did you do right after you scored a touchdown?" So, you know, I think the players love him, and not to be chastised for a mistake if you make up for it like that in that fashion. You know, I think only kind of win you over in terms of your players. The thing is, that's not the point. It's, you know, as a coach, you don't need your players to love you. You just need, you know, respect. There needs to be a mutual respect, and that's about it.
Yep, that's it exactly. So for that, I'm taking the Titans.
I'm taking the Eagles here. I just think that they're just, you know, I think they're going to find a way to run on these Titans, and they'll make the throws that need to be made. When you know, when the opportunities arise. I don't think the Titans have got a chance here, but like I say, I still think that they've got a really good shot at making the playoffs and potentially winning a game. You know, I think they might beat the Bengals. So,
who's that, Elite Joe?
Oh God. Broncos, Ravens. Ravens win. Moving on.
Yes, Ravens won.
Yeah. This is a game that, you know, you just want to see Lamar Jackson basically. I don't know. It's tough because the Broncos defense is obviously very, very good. And he's very short-handed in the weapons department. So it's gonna be tough. I think, I think the Ravens will win. I don't think there's really much to say here. I think that the Broncos are a tire fire. I think Nathaniel Hackett will be done after the 1 year. I think that Russell Wilson could even find himself out of town. I think somebody will pick him up. You know, regardless of what you think about this year and last year, he's still one of those top elite guys, and in the right place could make a big difference. So, and for a guy like him, a team will pay the contract.
Would you take him in Green Bay?
Maybe not Green Bay, but I'd take him. Where would I take him? I'd take him if the Ravens couldn't come to an agreement with Lamar Jackson. I'd take him in Baltimore. Do you know what I mean? If I was a Ravens fan.
Okay.
I'd take him, you know, with the Giants, the Commanders, the Buccaneers. I think he'd fit in there. You know, the Rams. There's no reason why not.
The Raiders.
Yep. Well, I mean, I don't think they would trade in division.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, no, true, but
yeah, they need a quarterback.
What are we thinking here? Jerry Jeudy's questionable for the Ravens. Sorry, for the Broncos. This is a game I just want to see Lamar Jackson not play poorly. I think if he can do enough and maybe win this one, maybe like a 20-10 or something like that, that'll be good enough for me. Because this is a great defense, and that's the point here, is we're like a stumbling offense with the way Lamar's playing and how short they are at receiver. I think that's the way that the Broncos could win, is maybe by forcing errors from Lamar. and giving Russell Wilson short fields, and Latavius Murray's been a good impact for the Broncos since he's come in.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna take the Ravens here. I think that their defense is nothing to sneeze at either. You know what I mean? They're only allowing 82 rush yards per game.
That is true. That is very, very true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. We'll take a short break. I know we made good time, really. When we're back, we'll get onto the rest of the games, but we'll get onto that touchy subject of the Browns and Deshaun Watson returning to the Texans. We join you about 34 minutes into the Netherlands versus the USA World Cup game, where the Netherlands are 1-0 up.
Thanks for that, Jeff.
It's disappointing because the USA have got a really nice away kit. It's nice and blue. I bought it with off DHgate and got Rogers on the back, just specifically for the England USA game.
Well, I don't want to discuss it because I don't understand why take to play 18,000 miles and play them once, but hey ho. I don't understand.
I'm just saying, right? Could you imagine if England made up a star squad of players for an American football team, went over to America, played an all-star Pro Bowl squad, and they tied? Could you imagine the outrage?
Right? I know.
And let's just say, right, could you say like the England team played the US team off the park, just like, the other way around did for our sport? So I'm sorry, but it's called soccer now, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, my child is thinking it's coming home, so.
Oh God, no. It's not. France are going to hump them in the next round, and then order will be restored, and we'll be all happy again. At this point, I just want Japan to win because their kit's really nice as well. Okay. Japan.
Right.
I mean, there was a point in the world when Spain and Germany were both going out. Miracles were happening at that moment in time. We've gone off topic. Let's get back to the real football, the better sport. Okay, yeah, sticky game. Maybe that's the wrong choice of words. Not a nice game.
I'm just being very immature.
Yes. No. I'm treading water here. This is not a nice game to talk about from the non-football perspective. We've got the Browns heading to the Texans. Deshaun Watson's suspension is finished. He has completed the terms of his suspension and is eligible to play in this game, which he will. He had his press conference, again, showing absolutely no remorse or responsibility for what he's caused. And, on this show, we believe survivors. And when it comes down to it, at the very, even if we didn't, for some reason, at the very least, 24 women are not lying about this. It's just
exactly. And we all know why this week he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, it was going to be 6 games, so he would have returned on a Monday night, a standalone game.
Mm-hmm.
NFL don't want that.
Yeah.
Then he was going to return week 12. They don't want him on the same field as Brady.
Mm-hmm.
So what they've done is you can return against Houston. We can shove you in the 6 o'clock window, and no one's going to care.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But now you know what's going to happen. Houston are going to absolutely demolish them.
Yep, let's hope so.
No, sorry, not Houston, sorry. Cleveland, sorry, will absolutely
I was going to say.
them. Sorry. Will absolutely demolish them. He'll throw for about 5 touchdowns, maybe rush for 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to be all over red zone.
I mean, do you know what, right? It's like, I can't say that's going to happen at all, because when it comes down to, right, this will be his first game in 700 days, over 700 days. And it doesn't matter how many practice reps you get in that time. Obviously he was not at the Texans facility at all last year. Well, I think he was for a short amount of time, but they were using him as like practice squad safety or something like that. So, or like third string safety. They weren't having him practice reps at quarterback. It doesn't matter how many, reps you get, whatever. He's not going to be I must admit, I'm surprised they're gonna play him. Because Jacoby Brissett, right? Not perfect, not the best quarterback, but I think there's a bit of gel with him right now. With Nick Chubb able to make things easier for him. And as we were saying kind of earlier in the season when Jacoby Brissett looked good, is there's I just think that this is going to upset the I don't want to say rhythm, but the I suppose, for lack of a better word, togetherness that the Browns all have right now. It's not going to be made any better with, the Tony Busby, the defense attorney for the women, and 10 of the victims, 10 of the survivors are going to be at this game. He's public enemy number one. There's a lot going to be made of this. I think that this is really going to affect his performance. I think this game is going to be really, really close. I don't think he's going to have a big effect, if any, on this game. And maybe a touchdown at most.
Okay.
We obviously look. The Texans' defense is horrendous. They're allowing nearly 400 yards per game. So I think it. And I think they're probably going to start Kyle Allen at quarterback. The Browns really only have no David Njoku. Brandon Cooks is out for the Texans. So is Derek Stingley. It's not a nice. This is not a nice game to talk about. I'm going to take the Browns to win here, but in spite of Deshaun Watson, who I don't think is really going to play well now or for the rest of the season. I just think that the 700 days not playing in a game is, because he wasn't good in the preseason. And there's not been any reports coming out of practice that he's been blowing people away since he's been back. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong, but yeah.
No, I'm totally with you on that. I just think that the Browns are the better team here. So step me down for the Browns.
Yeah. And for all you people that picked up Deshaun Watson off waivers on fantasy, you've got blood on your hands, but you would have done it too. So we've got the Seahawks against the Rams. This isn't a particularly nice game. The Rams are going to be starting John Wolford at quarterback. I think that Bryce Perkins, Matthew Stafford has cleared concussion protocol apparently, but won't play in this game. I wonder why. The elbow, is it still an issue?
The elbow's been an issue all season.
Yeah.
I think Sean McVay stupidly came out in week 1 and went, the elbow's fine. And what happened in the third play of the season? He got sacked.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell was he expecting Buffalo were going to do?
Yeah, no, that's it.
It's like, you see it in wrestling, when the guys get ribs all taped up, they batter the rib area. Don't stupidly come out. It's like, if Aaron Rodgers plays on Sunday, the Bears are going to go for the ribs.
Yeah. And the thumb.
Well, I mean, he's too used to shoving that up his arse, because that's what he normally does.
Jesus. Wow.
So he's too used to going, college friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think Seahawks will win this, and the Rams, the Rams are done.
This is such a monumental fall from grace with the Rams, and it's just crazy because you just think that, other than Odell Beckham Jr. is really the only person that isn't there. And I know they're not going to have Cooper Kupp in this game. They've just got no offense behind him. I think that there's just, I've been saying this for weeks, is the bad juju around the Rams involves them saying Cam Akers was never going to play for them again. Nobody traded for him, and then they had to come back with their tails between their legs and ask him, "Oh yeah, could you be our starting running back again, please, mate?" That is just such bad organizational management. No matter how much you look at, how much you consider success of them trading away all those picks to get all those star players and build a super team and win a Lombardi, which is success in anyone's book. And if it means going through purgatory for the next 5 years because of that, would you take it? Yeah, of course you would.
There's so many issues with the Rams, and
Yeah,
the thing is as well, they can't even rebuild.
I know.
They've given away the house.
I mean, they've got to give away some of their own pieces if they want to rebuild. They've got to get rid of Stafford, who I think is probably going to retire regardless. They've got to maybe get rid of Aaron Donald, who might retire, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, and it's just not a good place to be in, because rebuild at that point is that's
Would you love
3-4
Jalen Ramsey
years.
in a Packers uniform?
I don't like the guy, but him and Jair, that becomes the best secondary in the league.
Exactly. So,
especially when oh my god, name slipped my mind. He's a Packers player. No, there was an idea I had that they were going to move somebody to nickel safety like permanently, and it's a corner right now. I don't know if it's Rasul. I can't remember.
or Rasul Douglas.
Yeah, but I'm not
Anyway,
sure. I
enough of
don't know
that.
if it is. But yeah, regardless. I'm going to take the Seahawks to win this game. I don't like the 7 points for one thing. I think that this defense might give Geno a little bit of a hard time. But yeah, I think the Seahawks, they're going to bounce back from 2 defeats in a row and take a nice win here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right then. Here's a really good game. This is probably, if not the game of the week, probably the second best game of the week. We've got the Dolphins at the 49ers. Mike McDaniel heading to San Francisco and playing his old coach, his old superior, I think. Was that right? Was Mike McDaniel on the Kyle Shanahan staff? I'm sure he was, yeah. The San Francisco 49ers. I'm high on the Dolphins, right? Everybody that listens to this knows I'm pretty high on the Dolphins. And I am in this game as well. I think that I don't like them missing 2 starting offensive tackles against this defensive front. But I think that the way Tua has developed, and he's developed in such a positive way, that it's not just being able to get through his first progressions quickly. It's moving on to the second, moving on to the third, and getting the ball out quickly if need be. So that's why I give them a chance. And 12 months ago, if I'd have told a Dolphins fan, this time next year you'll be sitting 8-3, you'd have beaten the Bills, you'll have beaten the Patriots. Tua is playing out of his mind, and you've got a real chance to go into the 49ers home and beat them. I think because of Tua playing really well in this game, I think they put me in a mental institution.
Well, I think the Dolphins are underdogs.
Yeah, by 4 points. That's what makes me surprised.
However, the 49ers have to win. Have to win.
Yeah.
And because we did our our playoff review show, and I tipped the Bills to take the division. So for that reason, I'm taking the 49ers.
Okay.
I think they will give Tua fits. That offense, that defensive front is just mental. And I just think that the skill pieces that the 49ers have on offense will do stuff to that Dolphins defense. And I know that, but then you can turn that around and say, but Tua's got Tyreek Hill and Mostert and Waddle and Gesicki. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm going to be honest, Garoppolo and Tua are the same quarterback.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo and Tua are the same.
Okay. It's not a crazy comparison.
And they've got virtually the same weapons with different names.
I think that
Mostert and McCaffrey are the same. I would say Gesicki and Kittle are the same.
Yeah.
And then Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are the same as Waddle and...
No, I disagree with that.
I don't. I think Deebo Samuel's playing well.
He might not play in this game. He's questionable. Kyle Shanahan said that he had to show something on Friday, which was yesterday at the time of recording, to play in this one. And Trent Williams is questionable as well, so
that's a worry.
There's a lot of key pieces, and the Dolphins, they're dealing with Bradley Chubb, and their pass rush is pretty good. So that's why I think this game is good. I like the Dolphins in this one. I'm taking them to win. I think it's going to be a statement game. It's going to put them on notice, because if the Dolphins win this game, it becomes a point of like, how are they going to not win this division? If you know what I mean, because they won their last 5. They're on such a hot streak. Tua is just playing out of his mind.
With it being the 9:05 game, I mean, I know you've been to America.
Mm-hmm.
Do they flash the scores up on the big screens?
Red Zone's playing. I don't know about any other stadiums, but at Lambeau, Red Zone's playing on the big jumbotron prior to the game. And I think it might be in a small thing. I can't really remember. I'm too wrapped up in the experience.
No, it's one of those things. Like, obviously, in British football, fans are on their phones. They can see what scores are happening, etc. And sometimes if, for example, if Seattle's winning, then the 49ers know they have to win.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm taking the 49ers here. I just think it was just something I was wondering, because obviously you see in British football, fans are on their phones, and if you're watching a team, if you're watching the last day of the season, you're watching Man United, and they need to win the league. But if City win the league, that there's been a goal somewhere.
Oh, are we talking about when QPR just fixed that match and let City win the league?
Like, we don't go into that, but that was all I was meaning.
I'm just saying. It worked out fine, because had that not been the case, I don't think Robin van Persie would have joined Man United. So.
And Scott McTominay.
Oh, shut up. Right, yeah. This is probably game of the week here. We've got the Chiefs at the Bengals. I love this one so much. Do you know Joe Burrow has never lost to Patrick Mahomes. He's 2-0.
Well, best time to start now.
These two quarterbacks playing both obviously really, really well. They both got over 3,000 passing yards. Both are over 20 touchdown passes. Mahomes obviously is just balling out. But Burrow obviously isn't really that far behind them. I gotta say, he's been really hot the last couple of weeks. 3 big wins that they needed. Obviously they trounced the Panthers. They got a really much needed win, one of the best wins of his career against the Steelers, and then a nice upset win against the Titans last week in Tennessee. Against, a lot of people are saying that the Titans could be maybe a dark horse in the AFC, and then this is the game. I think that if the Bengals can win this, so that's back-to-back wins against the Titans and the Chiefs, they should win that division. Because I think,
I don't like the fact we're moving to YouTube. Because I like to just watch. I just want to see something. I just wanted to see how it was going to look like on the screen. And every time you mention Joe Burrow, I turn into Aaron Rodgers. I noticed. Roll the eyes.
I could say this. Now you know how I feel when you spoke about Daniel Jones.
And Kirk Cousins.
Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr and
Now, after you've slated my men, can I have a go?
Yes, go for it.
Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the world. He has the best weapons in the world. He's the best coach. Now, they have to win. They're going to have to win. Because they want that number 1 seed. They want the AFC to be going through Lambeau. Through Arrowhead.
That would be strange. Nobody's ever said that sentence before.
I know. I'm just moving teams all. It's because I saw the Packers top one, and I was like,
All right.
what were I saying? Through Arrowhead,
Mm.
where basically they're untouchable at Arrowhead.
Would that be 5 years in a row? I think it would be, wouldn't it? 18.
Something like that. So, I mean,
yeah.
As a quarterback, you want that home comfort. I know going to Buffalo wouldn't be that much different than Arrowhead, but you want that raucous crowd there. And I just think that the Chiefs will win it. They will beat the Bengals, and Elite Joe will suffer a loss, and he'll just be a guy again.
Now, just because we're moving on to YouTube doesn't mean you can just flip and flop like Colin Cowherd. We need to see if Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase will play in this one. I like the Bengals' chances a lot more if they do. But the Chiefs, I think, have got healthy at the right time. They've won their last 5. They weren't very convincing against the Rams last week. But they got the dub, and that's all that matters. A lot of these games that, at least 4 of their last 5 wins, I don't think they've been particularly convincing. But that's the point, is their wins. And I think the Bengals' weakness is their secondary. It just hasn't really been tested against, they've had Ryan Tannehill last week is probably the best quarterback they've played in their last 5. They had Kenny Pickett, and then they had who was it against Carolina? Was it PJ Walker?
I think so.
And then Jacoby Brissett, and then they lost that game. And they had the Marcus Mariota the week before that. So Ryan Tannehill being the best quarterback the Bengals have played in their last 5, maybe a little bit of a concern. And that's not a dig at Tannehill. It's just more of a thing about the Bengals. Are they ready for Mahomes? And I don't know if they are, because the Rams, despite being such a mess, still have a nice defense.
Yeah.
And caused problems for Mahomes, who wasn't perfect. I think he only had 1 touchdown pass last week. So
okay.
So I am going to take the Chiefs in this one, but I think that if Mixon and Chase are playing, I like the Bengals' chances a little bit more. Maybe it's a little bit closer, but I still like the Chiefs winning.
Okay, well, I'm taking the Chiefs as well.
Yes, we're in agreement there. All right, then we have the Chargers at the Raiders, and this is a game that this is the game that kind of sets the destiny for both of these teams. If the Raiders lose, they're done, right? They are done. But the Chargers lose, and again, probably find themselves out of this playoff hunt. I said at the start, I said before the season, we did the under the radar narratives games. And I said if the Chargers miss the playoffs again for the 3rd year under Justin Herbert, is he on the hot seat? And I think so. I think Brian Staley goes, for one thing. But I think questions get asked towards Justin Herbert because you've just not heard it. He's like, oh, he's got such a nice arm. He throws the ball really well, and he's part of the Chargers. And Brandon Staley doesn't know how to use timeouts and go for it, and then this and that, and the next thing, and too many excuses made for this boy, right? And I like Justin Herbert, right? I do. It's just, to me, it's now is the time, and I don't think they're going to do it.
Oh, so you're taking the Raiders to win?
Well, I'll get to that, but I'm just saying I don't think that, regardless them winning this week or not against the Raiders, I don't think that they'll do enough to get to the playoffs.
Right. I don't like this game because I like Herbert, but he's got nothing to throw to. I mean, Keenan Allen's not done much.
Josh Palmer's their leading receiver.
Yeah, I mean, no Mike Williams. I know he could be back this week, but it's. I mean, and on the other side, you've got Derek and you've got Devontae. The only D&D I want to see is Dungeons and Dragons. Because I think he could be out of thingy next year. I think Derek Carr could be out of Las Vegas next year.
Yeah.
Which would mean Devontae Adams would also go.
You think?
Where to, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's the question. Isn't it? It's like, because that's if they go to the same place, that's two huge contracts that team needs to take on.
do you
And
know what? I would love to see Devontae Adams in a blue uniform.
then the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Him, him and OBJ said he had a productive chat with the Giants. That would be some receiving core.
Mhm.
Plus the running back, plus the QB. That's
Mm.
may as well just give them the Lombardi just now. But no, I think for this one, I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Mhm. My concern for the obviously Max Crosby for the Raiders is playing really, really well and is kind of under the radar for Defensive Player of the Year. And with the Raiders are not going to have Corey Linsley, they're not going to have Trey Pipkins. We know they're not without Rashawn Slater, obviously for the year, got injured earlier on this season. So they've got a pretty decimated offensive line, and a player like Max Crosby could cause some problems. So this is the game I want to see. I still think Josh McDaniels is an idiot, and I think that they could blow this one. And I think that's what could happen. I'm gonna take the Chargers here. But I think it'll be close. I think it may be a come from behind magic Justin Herbert moment to come away with the win.
What was it I sent you last week? 2 seconds. What was that I sent you last week? Yeah. Is he naturally stupid or does he have to work at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to the two big games.
And we've got Sunday night football. A bit of a stinker, really. We've got the Colts at the Cowboys. Yeah, the line has moved. It's just slightly. The Cowboys are favored by 10.5. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good line, by the way. Well, I'll be watching that. You know, I give my residents top class care on Sunday. As long as they're in bed for 1:20, I don't care. But I want to stay up. Bed. But I've been sleeping all day. Bed. Don't care.
Yep.
Lie there. Piss off. Don't annoy me. But no, I think this is the week for Tony Pollard to step up again. And I would love a similar game to the one he had against the Vikings, I believe, to give me half a chance in my fantasy game.
We are fast approaching fantasy playoffs. I think it's week 13, week 14. A lot of leagues might start their playoffs next week. So,
well, I've been in and out so much.
I know. Well, I think you might be a lock in for Rookie of the Year for our league. So,
well, no, as I say, it's been good. I mean, I stung the leader Matthew a couple of weeks ago. Stung him.
He's been a bit of a slide. He was 9-0, now he's 9-3. So,
yeah.
After a win by me, I beat him. So,
I have your wife this week.
Oh yes, wife to be. Yes.
I beat her last time.
Yeah. Well, do me a favor because she's just ahead of me on our standings. So.
Well, I've been trying to work out my fantasy team for this week because obviously I do have Travis Etienne, who's questionable. I've got Darius Slayton, who's questionable. I've got Michael Gallup, who's questionable.
Yes, Michael Gallup questionable in this game for the Cowboys. I want to see. I think this could be a statement game for the Cowboys' run defense, where you said that they are the best defense in the league a couple of weeks ago, and I think I'd put them up there. I think they're maybe just a little behind the Jets. I don't think their secondary's as good, but I think that if the Cowboys defense can stifle Jonathan Taylor and force Matt Ryan to make some throws, and we know how that's been going this season, I think that the Cowboys should walk this one. I don't think there's really a problem there.
Okay, so I'm going to take the Cowboys as well.
Cowboys, yes, I'm in agreement here. I think obviously Dak's playing really well. Tony Pollard obviously doing great as well. And, I think that just everything's just clicking for the Cowboys at the minute. And it's disappointing that for them that they're probably not going to have a divisional crown.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters, but we've got Trevon Diggs questionable, Jaron Kearse questionable, Anthony Barr questionable, but I don't know how many of these guys would make a huge impact other than Trevon Diggs and Michael Gallup. Numbers, both teams pretty even, in terms of yards allowed and yards score, yards. Yeah, it's the points per game, which is the big difference here. The Cowboys are nearly 10 whole points more per game than the Colts offense. 25.4 for the Cowboys to 15.8. Yes, I think that the Cowboys walk this one. I wish this was in the lock zone, but quite rightly it's not. Cowboys walk this one. I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
No, definitely not.
Yep. All right, then we're in agreement there. Would you take them to cover? If this was a scorcher, would you take them to cover?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I did just say it won't be particularly close, but all right then. Final game of the week. We've got Monday Night Football with the New Orleans Saints against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. Sorry, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers excised their Saints demons this year by finally beating them. And
Dodgy call by the ref.
Well, good team tries above it, and the Saints aren't a good team. It's that simple. I mean, neither are the Buccaneers, really, but
No.
It's just annoying me saying that Tom Brady's finished. No, right? I mean, yeah, he will be finished after this year. Okay, he's gonna retire, right? But he can say the father time escaped him because he's still playing. The chemistry with Mike Evans isn't there, but the numbers are fine. He's over 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions all season. I
know, it's crazy.
I mean, Andy Dalton has 7. Andy Dalton's probably thrown 3 in one game this year. I'm pretty sure he did. Was it not against the Cardinals he did that?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he threw 3 interceptions in one game. So, that's by no means a comparison between the two. Obviously, Tom Brady is a billion times the quarterback Andy Dalton is. But it's just such a massive. It's so weird. That both run games for these teams are non-existent. Alvin Kamara has disappeared into the aether. The Buccaneers have potentially one of the worst running games ever. They're averaging 73 yards per game on the ground, and it's putting a lot on Tom Brady, especially when he can't really get the time to work with Mike Evans, who maybe is reading coverage a slightly different way, and it just goes awry. So, I don't like this game. I don't like to pick this game. I'm taking the Buccaneers, but I don't like it.
Okay.
What do you think?
In Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay.
Yep. That's fine.
Yeah.
That is fine and dandy. I just think that the Saints are going to be a dead operation at this point. Although, I mean, if the Falcons won, the Saints won this game, Panthers run by this week, the division is still wide open, because then the Saints are tied with the Buccaneers on wins. The Falcons would take the lead in the division. The Panthers, I don't think, are too far behind. I think they have 4. So, I think it's almost guaranteed that the winner of this division will have a losing record.
Yeah. I would agree with you there.
Yeah. All right, then. Well, that does it for this edition of the End of the Fourth Football podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out with us as always. You can check out our Facebook page, our Instagram, our Twitter. They're all in the description. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, because that's where our episodes will all be moving to from, I think the 19th of December, I think it is. That'll be the last, that there won't be any more audio only episodes from that point onward, because that's when our RSS feed is up for renewal. But yes, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out the Let's Talk Sports Network if you aren't watching on there, because there will be exclusive episodes going on. We could maybe switch up the format of the week a little bit. And for the guests, we're also looking for, we haven't said this in a couple of weeks, but we are looking for guests to come on every week, preview the Sunday night football games. So we were, for example, this week we were looking for a Cowboys or a Colts fan, but we're always looking for them to come on, and you can join the ranks of the pick'ems and the Scorching Six and all that jazz. But yes, from me, B-Hizzy
and the Prez.
Thank you very much for listening, and ciao for now.